Well, greetings, Brett Eastman here. Hope you're good. I wanted to just give you a little overview of what is going to be 12 things that we're learning, have learned at some of the larger and faster growing churches around the country over this last number of years. Been doing Lifetogether for about 12 years, but before that 10 years on staff on and off with Saddleback, and then half a dozen years with Willow Creek. And so both of those launched us into working with 7 of the 10 largest churches in the country, 50 of the top 100, and then what is over 500 mega churches. And so we learned a few things in terms of what's been happening, what is happening. I'm going to tell you some of the things that are on kind of the leading edge that we're doing and we're learning in some of those churches. First of all is doing a church-wide campaign out of the box, something from another church out of the box is something that everybody's been doing. And so whether it's start with a 40-day one like the ones I did here at Saddleback with Rick, like the Purpose-Driven Church one, the 40-day campaign is pretty much a plug and play. He's gone on to do multiple of them, but to do like 40 Days in the Word or some of these others, he's doing another one called 40 Days of Hope that is going to be a powerful one that he's doing, but you might want to check that out. The other one is churches now, after they've done that, they're doing custom, their own in-house kind of campaigns. That's kind of a new trend that aligns with the weekend sermon series with your pastor teaching. Your people want to hear you over anybody else, Rick or Bill or John Ortberg or whoever at Max Lucado, whoever it might be. And so having your pastor on camera actually gets an exponential number of people, wanting to engage. And so that's kind of what we're doing, backing a church up 30 days or 3 months and helping produce a series that aligns and launches to have a beautiful full-color curriculum and video-based series is kind of one of the things we're doing. The other one is they're no longer just doing one and done. They're not just doing a campaign where they go up and down. They're actually looking at a longer pathway, more of a one-year journey. Even Rick this year in the Year of Hope, he's doing the Year of Hope, not just 40 days, where he's doing 4 different curriculum that align with the different phases of where he's going to go for the year. But most of the churches we work with, we do a starter campaign, or we suggest doing a starter campaign, then a sustainer campaign. So you don't drop down as low as you would. One church launched 200 groups and went down to about 15. So it's terrible. So we do a sustainer series right afterwards, like we're doing Bayside Church. We just finished doing their series called it's called All In, or actually the series that we actually did with them was such a powerful one based on the book of Philippians. And so to watch them do what they did and then to go back just yesterday and actually produce a second series, their sustainer one, is a lot of fun. But we're going to do a marriage series in the fall, and then in the new year kind of a seeker series. So we call it a starter, sustainer, a strengthening one, or a seeker one, and then a strengthening one. We switch those sometimes around. But to look at a one-year journey, a pathway, sometimes a spiritual formation pathway. We've done that with a series called Transform that's based off the Willow Creek Reveal study that helps you live out the vision. And or a lot of churches will do a 3 or a 5-part series over the course of a year. So people are looking at a longer view, because that way you can kind of sustain more than they have. The other one is we're introducing more and better alignment with the typical weekend service. They don't have to do a fully featured curriculum and stuff. Those are usually campaign times and other times. But to launch 52 weeks a year, we've now introduced strategies to step around the pulpit and to catalyze conversations, what we say, conversation series. Not start a group, not launch a group, but just challenge people to not just be a disciple, but make a disciple. It's a really exciting new thing we're doing to be able to catalyze groups 52 weeks a year. But you need to have video. Video is the thing that allows people to start, not just the downloadable discussion guide. So adding a companion video to it is actually one of the new killer apps that we're doing and help coach churches to do. And the way that we're doing video curriculum series is we're telling them to do a remix, which could just take the weekend message, take a remix of it, a shorter or small group edition of the weekend, or reshoot, have them do a 10-minute edition before they jump in the car and go home, pastor, or do what we call a replay, so that we take either the remix or the reshoot and we play it in a living room and capture that with GoPros and have somebody edit it and make that available. So it's got some interaction, some engagement. It's a far better way to go. One of the other discoveries for us is we've done 500 curriculum as kind of a talking head like this. Now we've introduced a new town hall format that churches are loving, and we've just done this with about 25 churches just this last year in a lot of the larger churches, where we've got the senior pastor sitting center stage with a group of 30 to 50 people in the round, and it's more of an interactive. It's not a monologue, it's a dialogue, and it's just like totally lighting up a living room, and allows lots of diversity, age, life stage, etc. People to feel like the pastor gets them, and that I'm in that conversation. So it's a really exciting new development for us. We're also doing what is worship. We're introducing a decentralized experience of worship with a lot of the churches, these larger churches, where they'll have it for a small group or they have it for other small venues, but we'll produce 10 worship songs, 20 worship songs with a church, and that's like totally taken off for us, and decentralizing experience in a very a small group kind of a setting that is very engaging. The other one is to be able to do what we're calling microsites, to be able to not just multi-sites, but microsites. It's the best of a weekend service in a small group, mashed together, to be able to launch campuses with 10 to 100 people, not just hundreds, and not a little bit more than a small group. That's a really cool new emerging thing for us, where we're actually launching microsite services and producing it in the round so that it works better in the destination that it's going. Multi-site churches are loving this. Decentralizing leader training, so we're capturing leader training, either segments from 30 to 50 or so of the senior staff, doing leader training for folks to, for a decentralized small group. When we're now connecting north of 100% of the adults in groups, they need a decentralized small group strategy. We're also doing that in the round. We're taking all the staff, the key staff and the senior pastors and the teaching team in the round and capturing it in a circular format that actually models for them and actually is a killer leader training format. We're using a new strategy to be able to launch groups, not just the host strategy, which you had a heart for God, open your home for a few, for a few weeks to be able to, serve some refreshments, and T is turn on the DVD or the VCR, which is what I did here years ago with 40-day campaign. Now we're doing a grow strategy. The grow strategy says you got to produce a video curriculum, either download it off the weekend or produce it week by week, or for major campaigns, 1, 2, 3, 4 times a year. But now we're saying just get the curriculum, or grab the curriculum, gather with a friend. The Bible says 2 or more, not 22 or 12, 2 or more, and start growing. So the key word is grow. People want to grow on the weekend. 95% of your people are Christ followers, and so challenge them to grow. Their next step is to gather with a friend and start growing. That strategy with video curriculum, either well produced or just produced weekly and informally, is a killer app that we're finding. The next one is to streamlining next steps. So we're right off the weekend service challenging people to not just finish this conversation, but to continue the conversation. We're targeting the 4 people that are way out on the outer fringe that need to get connected. And the churches we work with, there's hundreds and hundreds of people that walk in on any given Sunday. So we target the single mom that's out there that's just on fumes, just dropped their kids off, like here at Saddleback, reaching her right away. A young couple that's got young kids, guy found out lost his job, another couple who is got teenagers a little wayward, or the gal that's single that just broke up. We target those on the outer edges and telling them, in order for you to grow, in order for you to take your next step, just grab the material either online or outside and gather with a friend and start growing. This model is really working well. We're putting the focus on making disciples, not just being a disciple, and that's got great potential. It's not getting 10% of your adults to lead, but now 20+% is what we're now experiencing. To be able to do a capital campaign. Integrating a capital campaign with a small group strategy is a big one. We did it with Miles McPherson and Dr. David Jeremiah and others. That's a big one. Small groups not just being about connection, but about and assimilation, but also about evangelism and outreach. So, if you got this going, you start connecting the outer edges, with the models that we have going from 50 to 100% of your adults connected, you're seeing a higher level of seekers that are coming to these groups that you can go ahead and connect. Well, I think those are just kind of some of the ones off the top of my head. I think trying to get what is some of the emerging and next steps for you guys. We are in a mode where we're coaching some of the churches we're working with, or in some cases we're doing full service production, or sometimes everything in between. But anyway, I thought I'd bring you on location here at Saddleback, give you a little taste of what's happening here. They just took a break. You could hear them in the backdrop. But until then, next time, look forward to connecting with you one way or the other. Blessings, Brett.